CityView poll, a recent poll conducted by Suffolk University and USA Today Network, asked Oklahoma City residents questions to get a better understanding of how they view the work of local police. Here is a look at some of the findings. Question: what percentage of residents believe Oklahoma City police are racist in the way they treat people, even if some of them try to do a good job? So pretty big difference in responses based around race. White and Hispanic folks were under 20%, but black residents agreed with that statement at 42%. And of those residents who called the police for help, how satisfied were you with the way police handled the call? White folks were overwhelmingly very or somewhat satisfied, but it dropped off dramatically for black and Hispanic folks. So, and then would you support, or this one was really interesting, because this had the biggest split around racial disparities. Would you support or oppose the idea of cutting some funding from the police and using the money for social services, for instance, to help the homeless and the mentally ill? White people opposed that at 63%. Hispanic people supported it at 55%, and black folks supported it at 65%. This is fascinating to me for a lot of reasons. One, because it shows, I feel this poll reasonably shows that there is a very big disparity in people's experience with the police based around race. And I think it is something that white folks need to ask themselves, why might that be? And, the next question would be should we do something about that? The defund question was really interesting just because it showed significant majorities of black and Hispanic residents asked a pretty mild question. Do something, it's not exactly like, can we cut down this giant waste of money over here in the police department and put it into this much better use of money over here in social services? I think if you made it even more explicit, you would see that percentage shift even more. But just the fact that a general poll comes back this slanted is pretty interesting to me. Because I would argue the average voter in Oklahoma City has very little education about abolition or about what defunding the police really would look like, and that there's this much of a split or even this much support. Even 32% of white folks supporting it. In a city that's majority black and brown. This might already be a winning issue with very little education and just a generic poll backing it. The police will attempt to do scare tactics and all that stuff, but this is a really good starting point for, let's say, initiative petition to do this. Because, I'll give you an example just from a policy standpoint, and try not to get too wonky here, and if I am, I apologize. We just passed a public safety sales tax, and the legislature just changed some law saying, you can't divert money from the police unless it goes to public safety. Well, we could design a question, or a policy in Oklahoma City that says, we will take part of that public safety tax instead of just giving it to the police department to, buy flak vests and cars and radios and whatever hell else they'll buy with it. We could say, okay, we want to take part of that quarter cent or whatever it was that we're spending on that, and we want to devote it to social services. We could just make that a thing right away. The police will oppose it because they don't want to lose any money. And, it could be a tough fight. But based on this poll, I would say it would not be as tough as you think. And it'd still be public safety money. It would still be these people respond to 911 calls, these people do, outreach, these people, but it's dedicating funding to it instead of just giving a blank check to the police department and, hoping they figure it out sometime. Anyway, that's the most interesting thing. I think these questions about how popular the police are still a bit problematic. I think for our side, we do need to make the case that people should be less satisfied with their police department. Just given that Oklahoma City is the second highest killing per capita, the fact that we spend 50% almost of the city's discretionary budget on it, for the amount we spend. we're not getting a good return. So I wish these numbers were a little worse. But, police are popular. They do a lot of PR. It's hard. This question, though, is really interesting to me. And I think the support for reallocating funding is, I don't know, something to be optimistic about, given the low education. Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.